What is going on, guys? It is WrestleMania here, back with another video. As Crown Jewel as WWE's World Champions battle it out for bragging rights, a championship belt, and a nice shiny ring. Join us now as we recap the show as well as provide the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. There's also news on the real reason why WWE just made mass releases. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. The first match of the night is the Australian Street Fight as Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman takes on Roman Reigns. Reed is looking to wash the taste of defeat out of his mouth after Reigns pinned him at WrestlePalooza. At the same time, Roman wants revenge for Reed and Bron Breakker beating him down so badly he left WrestlePalooza on a stretcher. This match featured the Smash Mouth style you'd expect from two powerhouses, along with the interference of Bron Breakker. The Usos run in for the save, but when Jay accidentally spears Roman instead of Reed through a table, it actually turns the tide big, and Reed gets the win after landing a tsunami. Bronson Reed defeats Roman Reigns. This is actually crazy because Reed is only the second man to ever pin Roman Reigns in the last 5 years. After the match, Roman is absolutely furious with both Jay and Jimmy Uso after he told him to stay out of his match. Roman even goes so far as to telling the Usos he doesn't want to see them until Christmas. Reigns walks out furious, and so does Jey Uso as he's had enough as well. It only leaves Jimmy Uso in the ring, contemplating what just happened. Next is the Women's Crown Jewel Championship as Women's World Champion Stephanie McMahon takes on Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. This battle between two of WWE's most talented female superstars looks like it can go in either champion's favor. Stratton and McMahon exchange strikes, aerial maneuvers, and submission holds as they vie for the Crown Jewel Women's Championship. However, a missed moonsault by Tiffany gives Stephanie the opportunity to seal the deal, and she does, delivering a moonsault of her own to get the win. Stephanie McMahon wins her 4th title in just 8 months, as she's now the 2025 Crown Jewel Women's Champion. Paul Heyman then talks with Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker, calling them the future of WWE, and Heyman tells them not to interfere in Seth's match, as he's got to wrestle on his own to prove that he's worthy. When the Brons ask what if Seth loses, Heyman cryptically comments that they know what will happen. Next up is John Cena vs AJ Styles, and this is a bout for the ages between the two, as they are two of the most important wrestlers of the 21st century. Cena and Styles wrestle in aggressive style while avoiding any chicanery, leading to a flurry of finishes from some of both men's greatest opponents. Both men's careers are winding down, but you never guess it from their performance as they wrestle like it was 2005. However, Cena counters a crossbody leading to a tombstone piledriver and an AA to get the win as John Cena defeats AJ Styles. Next up is Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane. Another instant classic in every sense of the word as all 4 women put on a showcase. While all 4 superstars could phone it in and it'd probably still be a good match. But they go all in, demonstrating why Raw's women's division is so stacked and why all 4 superstars are viable women's champions. The fast-paced match goes back and forth until Rhea lands a riptide on Kairi Sane and tags to Io. Sky flies through the air with a moonsault, getting the 1-2-3 as Rhea Ripley and Io Sky defeat the Kabuki Warriors. Now it's time for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship as World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins takes on WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is looking to win back-to-back Crown Jewel Championships, while Seth Rollins wants the decisive win over Cody that's eluded him ever since the American Nightmare returned to WWE in 2022. 2 curb stomps, including one from the top rope, and we now have a new champion as Seth gets the 1-2-3, and he's now the 2025 Crown Jewel Champion. Seth receives his Crown Jewel Championship belt and ring before launching a tirade on naysayers, proclaiming himself the greatest wrestler of all time. Stephanie McMahon joins him in the ring as they pose with their respective championships as Crown Jewel comes to a close. But that was a quick recap of the show. What about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly? As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Bronson's big win. Bronson Reed is headed for the top, with tonight's pinfall win over Roman Reigns furthering the huge push he's enjoyed ever since returning from injury earlier this year. As we mentioned before, this is only the second time Roman Reigns has been pinned in the last 5 years, with Roman counting the lights for Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40, which makes this win even bigger than it seems. Paul Heyman's comments later in the show that Bron Breakker and Bronson are who people mean when they talk about the Vision being the future of WWE is just another sign that the two Brons have a bright future ahead. The Roman vs Bronson match was routine, but it featured superb storytelling, both in elevating the Brons, but developing the budding tension between Roman and the Usos. Number 2, Roman's rut. While Roman Reigns' loss wasn't without controversy, as Big Bronson Reed had a major assist from Bron Breakker and an unlikely one from Jey Uso, it's still a loss, and Roman's scathing post-match remarks for his cousins showed that he's at his wit's end. Roman, the same man who spent 3 years using his cousins to keep the world title around his waist, is now his own man, and now he wants to prove he can win on his own. Sadly, this drama could end up being worse than when the bloodline began breaking up, with the potential for not only Jey, but for Jimmy to turn on Roman Reigns. Number 3. A fitting finale. Should John Cena vs AJ Styles have been Cena's retirement match? Well, fans have been speculating on who Cena's final opponent should be, and tonight's match really made the case that AJ Styles should have been Cena's last ever opponent. Now, whatever the case, this was a classic match, and one that could be considered match of the year. Cena and Styles' history was played up, but this wasn't just a trip down memory lane, it was an exciting clash between two talents that WWE fans won't be seeing much longer, as Cena is leaving at the end of 2025, while Styles will be going in 2026. Number 4. Cena and AJ paid tribute to a slew of superstars. John Cena vs AJ Styles wasn't just a phenomenal, well, no pun intended, match, but it featured an array of tributes from John and AJ for the many talented opponents they battled during their respective careers. John hit the following moves: The Miz's skull-crushing finale, Chris Jericho's Walls of Jericho, Bray Wyatt's Sister Abigail, Rusev's Accolade, Randy Orton's RKO and Vintage DDT, The Big Show's Chokeslam, The Undertaker's Tombstone. He also tried to attempt the Pedigree and Randy Orton's Punk Kick, as well as Rey Mysterio's 619, but he came up short. As for the phenomenal one, he had Samoa Joe's Coquina Clutch, as well as Frankie Kazarian's Fade to Black, and Christopher Daniels' Angel's Wings, and last but not least, Sting's Scorpion Death Drop. Just beautiful tributes all round, and we know that Cena isn't done quite yet. Cena could still hit the Frog Splash from Eddie Guerrero, he could still even hit the Batista Bomb from Batista. Number 5. Cena's classy move. John Cena is an absolute class act, as evidenced by his latest example, taking time from his farewell tour to acknowledge AJ Styles' many contributions to the ring. Cena wrote a touching tribute to AJ Styles, asking ring announcer Alicia Taylor to read it before the match. As you can see by AJ Styles' face, he was completely caught off guard, and it was clear that he didn't know that this was going to be planned. The message contained some touching comments about Styles' career, with John referring to AJ as a phenomenal face of TNA and the ace of the Bullet Club. The note also contained a funny item where Cena told AJ he had one more chance to beat up John Cena. Number 6. The women give it all. Now, whilst John Cena vs AJ Styles had pretty much match of the year, still Rhea Ripley, Io Sky and the Kabuki Warriors followed up with a match so good that you could almost hear them tell Cena and Styles, "Hold my beer." The Kabuki Warriors are the type of tag team that can be split apart for years and effortlessly reform without missing a beat. On the other side, there's Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, two of WWE's best single stars who have quickly gelled into a terrific tag team. This was a great match, with Rhea showing that there's no I in team by tagging in Io, so she could even get the pinfall on Kairi Sane, a fitting payback for what she and Asuka put her through over the last few weeks. It's even seemed all the more generous since Rhea was wrestling in her hometown of Perth, but she let Io have the win. The question is now what's next for Rio? While they could renew their fight for the Women's Championship, there's another possibility, the two vying for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Now, we've discussed how woeful the tag division is on SmackDown, but Rio vs Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss match could add some sizzle to the Women's Tag Team Championship and remind fans that the belt isn't exclusive to the blue brand. Number 8. Seth's big win. Seth Rollins can now claim he's defeated Cody Rhodes at a major event, but what does this mean for the Visionary? Seth's tainted win means he's no longer winless against the American Nightmare, but will this lead to anything in terms of storylines? Rollins still has a long way to go to even the score against Cody, but with both men on separate brands, that's unlikely to happen. Instead, Rollins can say he's dealt with the Rhodes problem, a classic heel statement since fans know Cody has many more wins than Seth, and a focus on being WWE's top star. This should also put any doubts Seth had about himself to rest so he can focus on a new mountain, whether that's getting rid of CM Punk, dealing with new challenges, or making sure Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker know who the alpha is on Raw. And a terrific turnaround. A Crown Jewel was a much needed reset for WWE following WrestlePalooza, one of WWE's worst PLEs since December to Dismember. Okay, it wasn't that bad. But WrestlePalooza was bad that WWE's new streaming partner gave it a C, prompting critics to question why ESPN would belittle a show it's paying for. That question is the answer, as ESPN didn't drop all that dough for WWE to phone things in. Tonight's show, however, was much different, with every match standing out, some for work rate, some for storylines, and some for both. For instance, while Reed vs Reigns was a fairly standard slobber knocker, it furthered the story of the conflict between Reigns and his cousins Jey and Jimmy. This story is nothing new, but WWE is putting a new spin on things, with Roman looking to establish himself as a wrestler who succeeds or fails on his own. Jey Uso is also a much different wrestler than when he left the Bloodline, not only being a world champion, but his status as a fan favorite, and Jimmy's still looking to see if he can make it as a single star. Okay, now this is just one PLE, and it isn't positive proof of a huge turnaround. Crown Jewel was a good start as it puts over new talent of Bronson Reed and Stephanie Vaquer and delivered 2 Match of the Year candidates. There were no duds, and WWE managed to keep the show at a reasonable length. That's not to say that everything was perfect, as we'll see in the bad, but Crown Jewel was a much needed palate cleanser from the awful taste that WrestlePalooza left in our mouths. But that was a good. What about the bad? Is number 1, commercials after commercials. What's with all the commercials on PLEs? While we know TKO Holdings had never passed on a chance to squeeze every penny out of its fans, it has to realize that fans don't tune into PLEs to see commercial after commercial. Granted, WWE has always annoyed fans with backstage skits and nothing but glorified commercials, but the current policy of treating PLEs like an episode of Raw or SmackDown is really frustrating, especially as fans continue asking for more matches on shows and instead are stuck with commercials and meaningless segments that show wrestlers entering the arena. Number 2, finishes that don't finish. Now, the WWE's finisher failures continue to plague its matches, as wrestlers rarely get wins without landing multiple finishers. Yeah, this problem isn't anything new, but today's WWE is taking it to ridiculous levels, with fans now accustomed to seeing wrestlers land 3 or 4 finishes and being lucky to get a 2 count. While there are exceptions for this, of John Cena vs AJ Styles' finishes being nothing about ending a match and all about honoring other superstars, they should be extremely limited. Indeed, the law of diminishing returns guarantees that this is only going to worsen unless WWE makes intensive efforts to retrain how fans view wrestlers' finishing holds. I mean, Cody Rhodes literally hit a super crossroads off the top rope and it only garnered a 2 count. While WWE hasn't gone to the ridiculous lengths of AEW, it's kind of heading there. Number 3, shortchanging 2 superstars. Stephanie Vaquer vs Tiffany Stratton was a little disappointing, not because either lady struggled in the ring. No, the problem here was all on management, which only gave them 10 minutes to work with, a disappointment for fans hoping to see these two go at it. It could be possible that one of the superstars had a nagging injury or other reason for the match being shortened. WWE gave plenty of time for the other matches, and this one probably deserved just a little more. And slow storytelling. Is WWE getting back on track with some compelling storylines? While there's certainly an improvement on SmackDown and Raw is actually hitting some major home runs, Triple H will be the first to tell fans he loves to let stories breathe. However, fans expect to see some development and not have to wait a full year for a story to move ahead. A prime example is the ongoing storyline of Seth Rollins' tense relationship with Paul Heyman, Bron Breakker, and Bronson Reed. WWE's been playing up the idea that Paul Heyman isn't happy with Rollins doing his own thing, and tonight's pre-match segment with Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Bron Breakker even hinted Seth was in trouble if he didn't win tonight's main event. While Seth won, there was no comments from Seth regarding his friction with Heyman, and it appears that this is the latest example of WWE teasing a storyline development only just to take a step back. At some point things will lead to an explosion, but for now it appears all is well with the vision and fans may have to wait till the Royal Rumble to get a payoff. There was nothing downright ugly as Crown Jewel was a fantastic PLE and just what WWE needed after its disastrous WrestlePalooza PLE. This PLE and yesterday's SmackDown are now hopefully the beginning of a much needed creative turnaround for WWE, which has been coasting all year and needed a proverbial kick in the pants to get back on track. What did you guys think of Crown Jewel? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our story is the real reason behind the mass WWE releases. As major news concerning the WWE's roster, as 9 wrestlers have taken to social media to announce their departure from the promotion. The list of releases, as reported by Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp, is Wes Lee, Stevie Turner, Lance Anoa'i, Jin Tala, Draco Knox, Hayes Jameson, Summer Sorrell, Braden BJ Ray, and Jamar Hampton. Now, the release of Lance Anoa'i has turned some heads because some fans believe his last name made him exempt from the releases. As for the other releases, these talents represent some NXT superstars, Evolve wrestlers, and members of the WWE ID program. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer managed to get a reason out of these releases, and they weren't due to budget cuts. WWE cuts were not budget related. They have over 130 people in development and hire more regularly. If you're not progressing fast enough or they feel you don't have what it takes for main roster, you're out to make room for someone new. Possible more cuts coming next week. Now, it seems that WWE has no room for any slackers now on the roster, and if you don't improve, you're kind of out. But there you have it, folks. I will look at Crown Jewel as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.